Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is December 28th, almost to the end of the year in 2020 here. It is a Monday, which means it's Monday Mukbang. Today, we're going to be taking a look at a product from Kodiak Cakes. This is something that I ordered on Amazon myself, and I've never had anything from Kodiak Cakes before, so I thought I'd try this one. This was an interesting product. It, to me, looked like instant noodles, and it's kind of what I was hoping it was. It's kind of like that. It isn't. It's pancakes in a cup. Kind of a weird kind of concept, but I thought I'd give it a try. 3 different flavors today. We'll be giving that a shot. I'm actually kind of ahead of myself today a little bit because I even got a link for the sampler pack that I got in the description if you want to go check that out. Not that you need to or anything, but I just felt like on top of it. So that's where I'm at today. How are you guys doing? What's going on, everybody in the podcast? Hope you guys are having a good run out there. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks everyone watching on YouTube, checking this out after the fact. Hopefully I can see you sometimes live, but I know that for a lot of you guys, the time zone thing just doesn't work out. All right, let's see who we got here. We got ASDF saying, hey, Kofuzi, any leaks and info on Nike 2021 lineup? Any new flagship shoes releasing early? Vaporfly or Alphafly 2s? You know, I don't know. I've never been plugged into the rumor mill kind of thing. Typically, I get any of my early information from Chimp Named Enid, Tyler on Instagram. Well, he's Tyler, but he's Chimp Named Enid on Instagram. Or, and I think he gets a lot of his stuff from Nike Talk. I can't forget exactly what his source is. And then I did see a new upper on the Next Percent 2. Ben Johnson posted some pictures today. I feel like his stuff, he's not posting super crazy stuff. So when he's getting it, I feel like it's stuff that is probably likely to come out. I feel like he's a pretty reliable source. So that's the only stuff that I've been seeing. I've been seeing other people getting the Vomero 15s, but anytime I look for them, I can't find them online. So I don't know what the deal is with that either. I'd like to get some Vomero 15s, give them a try. But other than that, I don't get any inside info there. Joyce is here again. Good to see you. Says, hi, Kofuzi. Looking forward to the Flapjack Power Cup. Aloha from Hawaii. Awesome. Carlos says, are those letters Korean? I think I asked before, but I forgot. Yes, they are. I'm terrible handwriting in English, in any language, and I probably spelled it wrong, but that's phonetically what it sounds like to me. And for the most part, Korean is a pretty phonetic language. There's no PHs or Fs, or anything like that going on in the language. So it's kind of what you hear is how you spell it. So it's, for the most part, pretty straightforward, but, I'll figure out a way to mess it up. Chris Yao says, Kodiak Kofuzi, for all your grizzly running needs. And it says, hey, Kofuzi and everybody, some ice on the trails today for today's run with Pip. More of a problem for me than for Pip. Another instance where dogs make better runners than humans. Yeah, they've got those paws and claws, so they can definitely get a little bit of traction. We had some snow out here. It snowed last night. It was a lot of fun. Actually, after the live stream, the kids, it was dark, but we were playing outside in the snow anyway. The neighbors probably thought we were crazy. But me, the girls, and my wife, we all went out there and we were playing. And just having a lot of fun. And then today, I figured we didn't get that much snow, maybe an inch, maybe 2 inches of snow, not a ton. But all of the roads were really slick. And so I had a bit of a tough time running around today. I just felt my feet were tired because, when your footing isn't great, your foot is constantly trying to find a way to get more grip. And I just felt like my feet were a little bit fatigued by the end of my run today. So yeah, I could have used some dog paws today too. Lena says, excited you're trying these products, Mike. Kodiak Cakes, the pancakes are my daily breakfast with blueberries. Oh, interesting. Very cool. Jenna's here. She says, hi, everyone. Got a 5K virtual race that I signed up for today. Awesome. Just for fun. It's a New Year's Eve race, but I'm going to run it tomorrow. Cool. Hope everything goes at least. Okay. All right. Well, good luck. You have to let us know how it goes. All right. All right. Let's try this first one. Let's see. Here's what I'm going to do. I messed up cooking one of these because I really thought it was supposed to be instant noodles and you just pour some boiling water in it and cover it and let it steep. But it's different than that. You're supposed to put water in it, stir it up, and then microwave it. I messed up stirring it on one of these. So I'm going to show you the one that turned out the best. And it's kind of weird. So it's mostly just powder that's in here. and then I put water in it, and then it comes out like kind of like a weird like doesn't look the most appetizing, right? And this is kind of like goopy too, but I don't know. It's supposed to be like pancakes. The first one that I didn't mix first, and it just started bubbling all over. It made a giant mess. And I'm going to eat that one first because that's the most plain flavor. But I'm not going to show you that one because that one looks really gross. But we'll go with that one first. As far as the nutritional content, it's like, I would say it's like the equivalent of eating like a bagel. Maybe a little bit more salt than a bagel, but it's got some protein too. It's got, each of these are a little bit different because they have different flavors to them, but they're 250 to 270 calories per like cup, like 37 to 40 grams of carbs. So that's quite a bit of carbs, or about like a tall boy, like a double of a gel. So like 2 gels almost. About 300 milligrams of salt and 10 to 12 grams of protein. So I feel like for a breakfast food though, it's a pretty good mix. So I'm gonna go with this one first. It's buttermilk and maple. It looks disgusting because of the way that I messed it up, but I'm gonna try to like not hold that too far against it, because see how it looks kind of like mealy, and just try to go over the flavor, and then we'll extrapolate what the flavors and texture really would have been like if I had not messed it up, but we'll see. It tastes like a pancake. It's amazing. I actually really like it. I'm tasting the buttermilk flavor to it, even though I'm not sure if there is buttermilk in this. There is some buttermilk in this, yeah. Tasting that. This is good. I'm not tasting quite as much of the maple flavor, but it does feel like kind of like I'm eating a wet or like a damp muffin, but it has a little bit of like kind of like syrupiness to it. I guess that's the maple. I don't know. It's good. Tasty. I like that a lot. I could definitely see like I was thinking like these would probably be great for office, like to have them at work, and like just to have a whole bunch at your desk. And like when you get to the office, I used to run commute, so as soon as I got there, I'd like to eat something. But I could see having that. Nice. And I've got some coffee to go with it. I guess I do kind of need coffee today, but I thought it would be good with the pancakes. All right. What else have we got here? We've got, all right. Jana wants to see exactly what it looks like. The one that I messed up looks really gross. It looks kind of like, I don't know, like a weird dough ball. It's not, the camera's having a hard time figuring out what to focus on in this cup. But that's what it is. And it's really dense and it's kind of like gross. But I think a lot of the maple flavoring spilled out over when I like made it blow up. Yeah. And let's see. Someone was saying, where did Lucy go? I saw someone up there. All right. Adam Steve says Mako show. Yeah, that's where this came from. First is though I saw it somewhere in there. Lucy, where did I see it? So it looks like Lucy finished a Couch to 5K today. So I did want to like recognize that and give her a cowbell for that. Great job, Lucy. And I do want to say like I only know about Kodiak cakes because of Chris Mako. And as I was thinking about it today, I was like, Mako's a pretty smart guy. Does Mako actually own Kodiak cakes? Or is he like a part owner, or is he a consultant for them? And like his whole like make me a sponsored athlete for Kodiak cakes, was that all a publicity stunt for his like client / his own like personal ownership interest? I don't think that's the case though, but like that'd be pretty clever if it kind of were. But yeah, I see Mako on I don't see him, but I see his stuff he's on Strava. So he's been running. So I've been seeing him out there, and occasionally I'll see something of his on Instagram, but I miss him. I enjoyed his, he was definitely keeping distance running weird, so I appreciated that. Scott says, all this says that like it looks like just add an egg. Yeah, I should try some of that stuff too. Because that's an interesting product. It's one of those products where I'm like, why don't they just make it microwave the whole thing? Why do I have to add the egg? Because I feel like I like these kinds of like cup products because then I could just bring them to the office and like eat them at work. I like store a whole bunch of them at work and just put them in the microwave and eat it there. So I can like eat at my desk, which is not healthy, but I do. But yeah, but I guess like adding the egg, I guess you're adding like, it makes me wonder, is it one of those things where I add the egg because it makes me feel like I'm cooking something, or I add the egg because there's something difficult in like about the egg itself that if they had kind of like put it all in one and you just added water and microwaved it, it would not be as good. I'm never sure about that. I just don't like being kind of like tricked into thinking I'm cooking. I don't know why I take so much offense to that. Brendan Cam, good to see you, Brendan. Brendan just hit the 1,000 subscriber mark. I haven't had a chance to see the video yet, but looks like you just hit the 1,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Great work, Brendan. Let's see. Someone was saying, oh, Martha, here we go. Says, yay, pancakes. We have them more days than not during the pandemic. All with mixed whole grain base, such as Kodiak. Oh, okay. Yeah, these are 100% whole grains, non-GMO. That's what it says on the package. And they do a pretty good job of allergy labeling. And so none of the flavors that I have peanuts in them. We have a peanut allergy in our house. And they do say that they are processed on shared lines with like tree nuts and whatever other things. And peanuts is not one on the list. But I think because some of these Flapjack cups there is a peanut butter flavor. I'm guessing there's still peanuts in the facility. So I don't know. I'll have to defer to my wife. My wife usually digs like a second layer deep than I would on that. And she also like is like plugged into all these different like Facebook groups where people like will share all the information that they've like corresponded with all these companies and stuff. So she'll kind of figure all that stuff out. But I don't know that my daughter's going to get any of these. I'm just going to eat these because actually I think they're pretty good. I like it. All right. Stevie76 here says, yo, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah. Let's see. Someone was saying something about Seth's video today. Yeah, Steven was saying, Seth named Nike the most disappointing shoe company for 2020 and Saucony the best. I haven't thought about who's the most disappointing shoe company for the year. Saucony is probably my best too. And just because they put out not only just the Endorphin Speed, which I love that shoe. And I've already been talking about that one as my shoe of the year, which I think he even named that the same thing, right? That's his shoe of the year as well. I just love that shoe. And I think so many people can run in it well that it's just amazing. And yeah, disappointing shoe company though. I haven't thought about that. I mean, I think disappointing, I'd probably put, I could see the argument for Nike because of the fact that like there's so much hype and excitement for them and so much that you anticipate from them. But I feel like, for me, like, I don't know, is Under Armour a more disappointing shoe company? Because I keep waiting for like that like push, that real big push breakthrough from them to break out of what they've been doing. So that's kind of like where I would go. I don't know that they're necessarily the most disappointing because also my expectations for them were pretty low. I think Skechers performance was pretty disappointing for 2020 just because I felt like everything was like a 0.5 upgrade. And I felt like, are the bean counters making them like, wait, we can get more sales out of these existing models. We're not going to invest in new models of anything until we sell more of these other units. Like, I don't know why there hasn't been an update, like why isn't it Razor 4? Why do we have the Razor 3 Plus? I don't like that. Like, so like, those would probably be my kind of two picks for it because I want to see more. I don't know, but that's an interesting like year end thing to think about. Carl J saying, hey, I'll dig into some post ride pumpkin pancakes. That sounds delicious. Trains with Coda says snow on the sidewalks made stroller like pushing a workout sled. I did have to push the stroller a little bit today. We because of the snow and since my nieces and nephews are also out of school, we all went over to their house. It's like about like a quarter mile away. And I put the girls in the stroller and I brought our sled and we had all, all our snow gear on and face coverings, scarves, masks, and all that. And we played outside for a while in the snow today. So that was a lot of fun, but I definitely had to push the stroller through some snow. But what's interesting is like this neighborhood clears snow from the sidewalk so quickly. It's amazing. It's faster than it happens in Chicago, for sure. I mean, even last night when we were playing in the snow and it was still snowing, there were lots of people already out like plowing, like snow blowing their driveways and clearing their walks. And then when I went for my run this morning, a lot of those same people were giving it a second pass too. So it's pretty impressive how diligent people are about it here. It's kind of intimidating to me in a way. Diego Martinez says, first live stream I've been able to make. Well, welcome, Diego. Glad to have you here. Awesome. Martha says she had a similar hard workout on the feet and ankles running in the snow there. Ooh, yeah, I bet. All right. Let's get down to, we'll get to this asiocentric question next. But let me get to flavor number 2 of these Flapjack Power Cups. This is the one that I showed you guys originally, the one that has it's like kind of wet still. Oh, goodness. That doesn't look that appetizing. That looks actually quite gross. That's disgusting. But I'm going to try this one next. This is chocolate chip flavor Power Cup. I mean, when you stir it a little bit, yeah, it's still, some parts of it are still kind of goopy. And it all is kind of turning into that same consistency as that first one that I showed you. So like, this isn't going to win any Instagram awards for sure. But I mean, it smells nice. It smells like a chocolate chip cookie. See how it tastes. I mean, look at this. I mean, if you guys thought oatmeal didn't look appetizing, this looks gross. But this flavor is really nice. I actually like it. It's like, I don't know, you have to kind of like ignore the texture for just a moment, but it's still really weird. But then again, like if you think about like a pancake covered in syrup, it gets soggy. So it's like not that different. I mean, I feel like maybe this isn't an innovative product at all, but I feel like this is an innovative product. That's good. I like that one. Martha says it's a volcano pancake. Yeah, it kind of is. Like the kind you cut it open and the lava falls out. Let's go back to the asiocentric question. Does anyone have issue with their heart rate going all over the place during their warm-up? Mine shoots up to zone 4, higher during my warm-up, so I have to talk or walk most of my warm-up mile. Yeah, mine, I mean, someone was saying, where'd it go? Oh, Remy was saying, yeah, get a chest strap. That's kind of the first thing that I would check for sure, is to do that, because that's kind of what that sounds like. If you do have a chest strap already, given the fact that it's winter, I would also say make sure you're still getting a good connection. For me, in the cold weather, I have to actually have one right here. I'll get like a conductive gel. You can find them on Amazon super cheap. You can't buy a little bit of it, though. You have to buy it in like these giant tubes, but you get them, you put them right on like the parts that you would get wet before you put them on. And then when you actually wear it, you would normally wear it lower, but for camera purposes, when you wear it, then it conducts properly. And so that's something that I've had to do. That jumping around for me, even with a chest strap, is something that sounds familiar. Like the heart rate monitor is not connecting well. So those are like two things, So yeah, that's what I would look at. Matt Vote 2 says, the way Brooks dropped the Hyperion at the trials and then came out with version 2 of the Hyperion a few weeks later, disappointing. Yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, so I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do my year-end video, because it's kind of like a hodgepodge. It's like 4 shoe categories and then like, I don't know, like a couple like social media categories. So it's kind of a weird thing, but I'm kind of random, so I guess that's okay. But like for sure, the most disappointing is going to be like the Hyperion Elite 1. Because, I mean, it's even worse than the way you laid it out, Matt, right? Because you're saying, like, they dropped the Hyperion Elite at the trials, and then a couple of weeks later, there was a version 2. It's not even. They were like, stay up for the midnight drop of the Hyperion Elite 1. I did that. And then 11 hours later, on the feed of Des Linden, is the Hyperion Elite 2. So it was like the same calendar day. is when like the Hyperion Elite 2 was at least previewed to the world. Now, granted, like Alfie and Tillamook was running in, and the other Hoka Elite women were the men running in it? But at least the women were running in the Rocket X, and we didn't see that for like 6 more months. But it wasn't like they were like, buy this other shoe, and then here's the new shoe like right afterwards. So I just feel like that was just an absolute disaster, especially since the shoe was originally only supposed to be, it was originally rated. I got a long rant for it, but it gets me fired up every time I think about it. I'm trying not to like, kick them while they're down, but like that was pretty crappy the way they did that. I feel like they should have given people like refunds. I mean, I guess there was a handful of people that liked it. If you were an actual elite, I think you might have liked it. Those are the only people that I met that liked it. All right. Jody says, 2020 is the year everyone played catch up to Nike. Nike really didn't release anything innovative new apart from Alphafly, which we knew was coming. Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of hard to say, like, other than the Alphafly, they didn't do anything innovative. I mean, that's a pretty weird, different shoe, I'm going after this chocolate chip some more because it's good. So, like, that's why I feel like it's kind of hard to say that. The Tempo Next Percent was a big swing. I think it was I didn't run in it, but it seems like a swing and a miss to me. But there are people like Ben Parks loves his. He's got a couple pair of them, right? And other people have run in him like several hundred miles. So, I mean, I guess some people still like them. Yeah, Matt Bo says, I was not aware it was a mere 11 hours. Yeah, for sure. Like it was just the same. I mean, I don't know exactly what time was the women's start, but I remember hearing about like rumors that like Des was going to be wearing a different shoe that day. And then like I'm standing on the side of the race at like mile 1.5. And I'm like, oh, those are different. Those are not the Hyperion Elite 1. They're yellow. And I was like, that's pretty crappy. And I'd already bought my pair, so it's like, I mean, I guess I could have canceled that order, but I don't know. It's just just such a strange way to release a shoe. I mean, at that point, just don't release it. But they did this whole like midnight drop and all this stuff. It was crazy. And Martha says, agree, Brooks should have offered refunds. They do, though. Remember their 90-day refund policy of purchase from any authorized dealer. That's true. And you know what? A lot of people told me, because I ranted about it on Twitter and on Instagram. People were like, just return it. Just cancel your order. And I was like, no, I'm going to try it and run in it and see if I like it. So, I mean, I had opportunity to do that. It was my own fault that I ended up having to pay for it because I could have backed out of it at that point. But, I mean, this is a weird way to put, like, weird thing to do to your customers. Carrie Smith says, yeah, 2020 was pretty good as far as running shoes are concerned. Yeah, I think it was a great year. We had so many good shoes. And a lot of them were like first time shoes, So, I mean, it was a great year. All the endorphin shoes were like version 1s. Nova Blast, version 1. Hyperion Tempo, version 1 shoe. Is the SL20 a version 1 shoe? I actually don't know. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of interesting shoes in 2020. I think I said it in one of the top 5 videos. It's like, imagine if this was like a regular running year, like how interesting it would have been to see at different races, how many different kinds of race shoes there were. And if like it was your normal year training all summer, and for example, if I'm by the lakefront, what shoes would everyone have been, running in? That would have been pretty fantastic to see, I think. Matt Fotu says, I was on the Brooks website waiting for midnight to pull the trick on the Hyperion. I was too. I did. Ben Browning saying, Atreyu. Yeah, they had an interesting year. Was this their first year? I feel like they've been around longer than that. But maybe I'm wrong on that. Yeah. Devin Bensky says ASICS really came back strong too, though. Yeah, I mean there was so many really good ones. If someone were to say that ASICS was the brand of the year, I would disagree, but I wouldn't be mad about it. You know what I mean? I feel like that's a very defensible position, I think. I finished the chocolate chip, by the way, and I had a late lunch. I ate lunch at like 2 something, maybe like 1:30 or 2 o'clock. So to finish that, it means it was tasty. It goes down well. Daniel South says, I know you read the Superior 4.5 and the Torrent 2. Did you have a favorite trail shoe of 2020? I haven't thought about it too much. I think next year I might have a favorite like hybrid trail shoe because I don't really need like a full-on. I don't need a Speed Goat. I even ran in the Sense Ride 3, and I think that might be too much trail for me. But like things like the Torrent 2 and the Superior 4.5, I've been running in the Fresh Foam more trail a lot lately. Like those are more my speed as far as trail shoes go. I would say the Superior 4.5 and the Torrent 2 are 2 very different shoes that I like each of them very much. I think overall though, I'd probably say I like the Torrent 2 better, just because I feel like it actually has a little bit more trail capability. The Superior 4.5, like, it's kind of like a road shoe dressed up like a trail shoe a little bit. Even with the rock plate, it just feels like it wasn't a plate. It was like a piece of rubber insert that you put in there. Even with that in, I just felt like I was still getting a lot of rocks poking through on the bottom. Like they weren't poking through, but I could feel them, and it didn't feel extremely grippy, even though like the lug pattern looks like it might be. But I did love it for the kind of running that I do. Dirt roads, like mostly dirt roads. It was great. But as far as actually being a trail shoe, I think the Torrent 2 was better. I'm trying to think, was there anything else that I'm forgetting that was in there that I ran in? I don't know. That's probably it. I haven't run in any of the Peg Trail 2s. I think I'm going to pick up a Gore-Tex version here pretty soon. We'll see. Rigson said, this is the year I bought the most running shoes. Pegasus, SL20, Nova Blast, Iowa Tuco Fuzi. Well, I hope you've been having a good year running then. But, I mean, from that lineup, I think you probably have. It's a good set right there. All right, let's get to the third and sugariest flavor of the 3. This one is the Flapjack Power Cup S'mores. This one has the most protein, 12 grams of protein. It also has the most sugar and salt. So 40 grams of carbohydrates and 340 milligrams of salt. Remember the other day we were talking about, there's like a Nick Bear video where he was saying he had like 1,000 milligrams of salt before a long run. And I was like, that seems like a lot. But then I was like, no, I think that's like half a ramen to have 1,000 milligrams of salt. So I'm like, it sounds like a lot, but maybe it isn't. And this is 340. This one actually has actual like marshmallows in it and like chocolate chips, and it's not oozing like the last one. Someone asked, I missed it, who it was, but someone asked if I'm sure I made them correctly. I'm not actually sure that I made them correctly. So I could have done it wrong, but I feel like this is kind of the consistency that I've been getting out of all of them. They're like, it's kind of like a cake. I mean, I guess I could microwave them a little bit longer. Maybe my microwave times are a little bit different, but they're all kind of like looking like this, like pasty, like kind of like cookie dough mixed with melted ice cream. Kind of is probably the best way that I can describe it. And it's kind of sweet like that too. Yeah, I don't think I like this s'mores one though. I usually don't like things with marshmallows in them. And this one just tastes kind of funny. The chocolate chip was much better. I do feel like I'm kind of getting that graham cracker flavor to it though, which I do like. I appreciate that. It cuts back on the sweet, which I think is what it does in a regular s'more too, but it's good. The marshmallow is like a gummy bear. Some of them are nice and melty. Some of them are really chewy. So I don't like that as much. But I should probably preface all of this by saying I don't really like sweet breakfast all that much either. I'd rather have salty or savory. But as far as pancakes go, these have all been pretty good. I'd say the chocolate chip was my favorite. Buttermilk and maple, second. That's most straightforward. It just tastes like pancakes. It's good. And then the third, the s'mores, was just too sweet for me. So I'm probably going to go and finish all those like off camera. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think that's probably enough for now. Jeff says, regarding Nick Bear and electrolytes, I think he's trying to replace everything he's losing during the run, and I think it's a mistake that is going to cause digestive issues. Yeah, I kind of go back and forth on my thoughts on that. I'm not a registered dietitian or anything like that by any means, but it does seem like he's certainly trying to stay completely topped up, which is something that I've kind of been leaning towards too as well, like over refilling on carbs, over refilling on salt and fluids as well. Because I think I've been like skirting too low. I've been more towards like how little can I replenish and still perform well at. And I'm thinking like how long can I stay really topped up? I think part of it is he may be looking, I don't know. He seems to have like a very elaborate team of people. Everyone has a different accent. He's got a Texas accent. His run coach has like a Australian accent, or English accent. No, it wasn't a run. It was like a technique coach. Maybe she was the bike coach or something like that. And the other coach that he has, that's like, I was like driving around, following that race, an even thicker Texas accent than his. So everyone talks different. It's just like going to like a crazy house, I would imagine, if there was like a meeting between all the coaches and him. But it just seemed like I'm sure that like they're looking at it and thinking like if elites are going with a bottle and a gel and multiple, maybe not every 5K, but at least a bottle every 5K, and you think about how much liquid is in one of those bottles times 8, because if there's every 5K, that's 8 different tables. That's a lot of liquid that elites are pulling in. And so maybe they're like basing it off of that. But it does seem like a lot. And it reminds me, when you think of it as like, trying to replenish every single ounce of sweat that you've dripped during a run, it reminds me of the studies that they used to do like in the early days of Gatorade, when they would like weigh people before a race and say that like, the people that didn't drink Gatorade lost X amount of more ounces during their physical activity, and therefore they're that much less hydrated, and therefore they perform that much less well. Like, it's those last two therefores that I feel like kind of get people into trouble. And I'm not sure the science is there to back that all up. Kind of going with what Jeff's saying. But, I'm not so critical of it, because I've been kind of in like the stay topped up kind of camp too. But, it seems like a lot. But he's a big guy, so he needs a lot. T. Davis says, Nick Burns' video production is always A1. It is nice. They're fun videos to watch. I go back and forth, I feel like, am I watching a video intended for like a 15-year-old boy? I think I am. But then again, like, well, on the other hand, I'm entertained, so it's okay. So it's like, I wave, I vacillate. Steven says, running in general is for masochists, so barefoot running just increases the pleasure. That's funny. Ben Browning says, Americans, can you pick up Aussie versus UK accents? Not always. A lot of times I mess it up. What's harder then you get into like some of the other nuances, like Australian and New Zealand accents. Like, I think I can pick up the difference, but then I have to be like, all right, which one sounds like Flight of the Conchords? And then like Murray, I think of Murray from Flight of the Conchords. I'm like, that's a New Zealand accent. And then Australian accent, I try not to think of like Crocodile Dundee, but sometimes that's where my mind goes. I try to think more of maybe like Crocodile Hunter. Yeah, I know those aren't really great. Probably not the best examples, but like that's kind of where my mind has to go. I need like a reference voice to listen to. I also think of How to Dad. Do you guys watch How to Dad? He's on YouTube, hilarious dude, out of New Zealand, really funny. But I do have a hard time picking out the difference. But I am getting better at my Southern accents and the nuances there, like between like Atlanta Southern, a Texas Southern, which isn't exactly a Southern accent, but it's a little bit different. And then like a kind of like a Virginia Southern, which most people in Virginia I don't think have Southern accents anymore. But when you hear it, you hear it. But yeah, I don't know. I guess it's just like a lack of experience and exposure. Cameron says he can tell the difference between UK and Aussies apart, pretty distinct. Yeah, I think it would depend though on like, you know, I feel like from my perspective, I feel like everyone thinks of it as like one Australian accent, which I'm not sure that's the case. But you know, I'm familiar that there are multiple kinds of like UK or British accents. So like, I think it depends on like which ones you're lining up. You know, Ben Browning says, love the North Carolina varieties. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Carolina Southern accent, I think, is the most, I would say, like mellifluous, the sweetest of those. It's the most, I think, lyrical of the Southern accents. Other ones can get a little bit twangy and are a little intimidating to me, but, you know. But that's just my take on it. And then, like the Texas Southern, I think of either George Bush or Matthew McConaughey. Those are my reference voices for that. Carrie Smith says, U.S. versus Canadian is tough. Oh, I don't have a hard time with that one anymore. I mean, having grown up in New Jersey, and then I lived in St. Louis for a little while, then I got like that Missouri drawl, like the putting the R's in things that they don't belong, like Washington. That happens in Iowa too, by the way. But like there's that Missouri, not really Southern accent. Missouri frequently forgets that it's above the Mason-Dixon line and fought for the Union. But there's that. But then I moved to Chicago, where there's the Chicago accent, which is just basically like spitting out sounds. But then there's also like the Wisconsin and Minnesotan accent, which is Minnesota is more kind of like that Fargo, North Dakota. It's an adjacent state. You start getting there. And then I hear Canadian. I can hear Canadian really clear. I hear it clearly. I pick out the nuances really well. I don't know why that one always jumps out at me. The dead giveaway is if you ask them to say lasso, they say it lasso. That's one dead giveaway. And if they say university versus college, that's another one. That's usually a giveaway too. Martha says, interesting thing about North Carolina, I lived there for 6 years in Roanoke, where the Lost Colony was. The current accent is supposedly closer to Elizabethan English than the current speech in England. I've heard different things like that. Someone was saying that there's a touch of that, kind of like that in Maine in parts as well. It's kind of closer to England, or the English accent, or different older English accents. But yeah, it's cool. I didn't know you lived in North Carolina. Adam Steve says, Inside Running podcast is good for a range of Aussie accents. Yeah, I was listening to that one. I forget who the host's name is. He was interviewing Jessica Hall. And I was just like, I couldn't listen to it for a long time because after a while I was like, these are weird sounds that are coming out. And so it kind of like I listened to it for like an hour or however long it was. And I was like, oh, that was a lot of Australian accent. I don't know. It got difficult for me to listen to after a while. Not that I don't like it. I actually like the Australian accent, but there was just something about like hearing two people with the Australian accent talking that like just got to be like intense for me. I don't know. It's a weird experience. Daniel South said, I'm from New Jersey. Where did you grow up? My dad went to seminary at Drew University. So we lived in Madison, New Jersey for a long time. And then we kind of bounced around in Middlesex County a whole bunch around Rutgers. Then we moved down to the East, not the East Coast, but down to the Jersey Shore. We lived in Monmouth County. And so we were in Eatontown, which is next to Red Bank, which is where View Askew, the Jay and Silent Bob guys are from. So like growing up, like Clerks and Mallrats, like those movies were like, oh, they're talking about us. Because that's kind of like how I grew up. And then towards the end of high school, we moved over to the west side of the state. And we were in Hunterdon County, which is about like an hour north of Philadelphia. So I'm kind of all over. Now my parents are in Bergen County, which is where the George Washington Bridge is, which most people don't know anything about except for like Chris Christie. When he was governor, he got pissed off because like the mayor of Fort Lee wouldn't like back him, like support him in his gubernatorial race. And so like he like basically shut down the bridge out of spite for a couple hours in the morning and just totally screwed everything up. It was a big deal. It was a big scandal. But so that's kind of like, I've had the North and Central Jersey sampler. Although I think people debate whether there's a such thing as Central Jersey, but I'm purely a product of Central Jersey. So I think there is a Central Jersey. Let's see. Ben Browning says inside running is fantastic. Yeah, I enjoy it. I usually listen to a lot of podcasts, but when I'm running, but also when I'm filming. So a lot of the B-roll that you guys will see, that's down like by that, and it's in the dark, and there's that like brown wood table. Like usually, like I strip the audio out of that before I put it in the video. But if you could hear the audio, it's just podcasts in the background. So that's usually when I listen to the different ones. Oh, Martha says, someone please tell us if Ben Johnson being mentioned here all the time is the Olympic sprinter. No. There's a guy, Ben Johnson, 763. He's a little bit younger than me. He's got a couple of kids. He's a guy that came to running a little bit later in life, but he's just incredibly fast all of a sudden. And his Instagram account has blown up from like I don't know if it's just like this year or last year, but he's got like 60,000 followers on Instagram, and he posts a lot of his workouts. He posts a lot of just shoe stuff as well. So yeah, so that's who Ben Johnson is. It's not the sprinter. He's I don't know what his ethnicity is. I don't know if he's Filipino or what, just because his name's Johnson. So it's a little bit throwing me off a little bit, but yeah. But he's just like a regular guy. He has like a day job and stuff. So James Baker says, I live in a town called, I would call it Bicester from the way it looks at it. It's in the UK. He says it's pronounced Bister. I see that. I can see that. All right. Yeah, it's one of those towns where like if someone knows what you're talking about if you pronounce the name right. Yeah, I like that kind of thing. Yeah. Asia-centric says the California accent is the newscaster speech. I could see that. Yeah. They were saying for a while that like I don't know if it's still the case, but I remember at least when I was in college, they would say that like people frequently came to Iowa because Iowans generally had like the least like detectable accent. And so it was like, to the extent that there was an accent here, it was difficult to discern where it's from. But I would tell you in Eastern Iowa where we are, it's very much like a Wisconsin accent. I mean, we're adjacent to Wisconsin here. I mean, where we were in Guttenberg, across the river was Wisconsin. So like 20 miles from here, we're on the Wisconsin border. So there's a lot of people that talk a lot like Wisconsinites. So like, and kind of like the Chicago, like the Bears kind of thing. There's a lot of that too. There's also a lot of people that talk like Jim Gaffigan around here. I think Jim Gaffigan's from Kansas, I think. There's a part of the Iowa where people talk like Larry the Cable Guy too. I don't know too many people that talk quite like that. Larry the Cable Guy, I think, is a Nebraska guy. Nebraska's an adjacent state, but on the opposite end of the state from where we are here. So yeah, so a little bit of a accent kind of map going on today. Lee Runs Ultras says, what's your top tip for math? I would say top tip, be patient. That's not a really great tip though. That's basically it. You got to give it time. Really got to give it time. Yeah, that's it. Eric Fensky says, "Don't you know?" That's funny. I love the way you guys are spelling this. And Ryan Cabal says, "I love how people in Minnesota say fish tacos." What? How do you say it in Minnesota? Like fish tacos? Fish tacos? I'm not sure how I would say it. Yeah. Runner Dre asks, "Where's your favorite place to run in New Jersey?" Homedale Park. That was not my home cross country course, but it was depending on what part of high school I was in. For like a regional meet, that would be my home meet. We did a lot of our home meets like on our school campus, but Homedale Park was a place that we ran all the time. It was a lot of fun there. It's a tough course. I ran it again, not recently, like 3 years ago maybe. I ran it in the Saucony Ride ISO 1, but so it was a couple of years ago. But yeah, that's my favorite place. Either that or all on the beach. Jeff Elliott says, "I think Larry the Cable Guy's from Florida and the accent is completely false." Are you sure? I don't think so. I think he's from Nebraska. Did you see he used to have a I think it was a National Geographic or maybe it was a History Channel special where he was going to like dying small towns, like disappearing small towns. And he went to one where it was like a ghost town. It was like a town that had unincorporated itself for a little while. And then like it was pretty much straight Radiator Springs, where like there was a big road that came through and then no one came to that town anymore. And he went and there was like one dude living in a hut. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm the only one that's been here for like 14 years. It was a really weird show. But I like Larry the Cable Guy. Like it's trying to like, I like pre-Prilosec OTC Larry the Cable Guy. I feel like after that, then he just became like this giant character, even more giant caricature. But yeah, I like that. Ryan Cabal said, "Did you eat the flapjacks?" I did. I'm already done with them. I got some more of this s'mores one left though, so I'll give you another sample. Here's what it looks like. It's definitely like thick. It's goopy. It's like if you left your like pancakes get really soggy in syrup. That's kind of like the texture that they are. So it looks like, and that's kind of what it tastes like. But it's actually pretty good. I think that, like I was saying, the marshmallows in that s'mores one though are not good. They're just like, it's like eating weird gummy bears. But for the most part, I did enjoy them. And I would say like at home, I probably would make a pancake if I felt like a pancake. I'm actually not a huge pancake guy. But I feel like if you're taking, like, this is something that I would put in my bag if I were traveling to a race. Or if I were like doing like a Whole Foods run, I'm thinking like, I want to stock up on some food for this weekend for this race. And I don't want to have to like come back to the store again. That's something that I could definitely see myself picking up if my room had a microwave in it. Or something that I had at work. If I were like run commuting or just wanted something else to have in the mornings that wasn't like a granola bar. Nutritionally, I'm not sure how different that is than a granola bar, but if I just wanted something different than a granola bar, I think that's a pretty good one. So I do like that one. Leona says, "I think they're not supposed to be that soggy though." Probably not. They may supposed to be like a little bit puffier. I probably didn't microwave them long enough. So you're probably right on that, Leona. I think if they were a little bit airier, and I also keep in mind though, like for me to get them ready to come up here, it takes time and they settle and like they sit, and I'd probably be done with eating them before I'd even started tasting them, like here, that kind of thing. But overall, I'd say like I like it. The cost, I feel like they're a little pricey. I mean, I bought a sampler pack. Sampler packs always end up being a little bit more expensive. So I think that they were under $2 or about $2 per cup for the sampler pack that I bought. I think you get that price down if you buy like one flavor. I recommend the chocolate chip and maple. That's the one that was my favorite. But yeah, I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's got the whole grain. I like it. I definitely like it. That's funny. Ben Y said, I'll show you the question I was laughing at. Ben Y said, when I moved to London, I kept pronouncing names wrong. Greenwich, Chiswick, Euston, Southwark. I'm sure I said all those wrong too. That's funny. Matt Bell, here's what I was laughing at. It says, what's the strangest place you've ever taken a dump during a run? The strangest item you've had to wipe yourself with? Yeah, I mean, the strangest place, I think, is just the cornfields. Like, it's only really happened to me in the cornfields or along the Heritage Trail, where I'll just kind of like step off a little bit and take care of business over there. So that's kind of that. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is strange, but it's not that strange, is it? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. Lee Runs Ultra. I think we'll end with this one before we go. Does any advice for growing on YouTube? I would say niche down. Try to find like the thing that you love talking about the most, and find like the people and find everyone that loves talking about that very, very narrow topic. So for me, it was, just like a regular dude that runs, not an elite, not someone that used to be a D1 runner, not someone that's trying to meet like an Olympic standard, or I wasn't even BQing was just like way out of the picture for me. I just like running a lot, and I like shoes. I don't get a ton of them. So here's my shoes that I've been running in after 300 miles. So like, those are the kinds of like things. And I was like, I'm looking at these really cheap earbuds. So I reviewed a whole bunch of $20 cheap earbuds. So that was like another thing that I did. So focus really narrowly on you and find everyone that loves those things. And then you'll eventually keep growing and growing and growing bigger and bigger from there. But that would be my advice. All right. Jennifer Herring says, I went to high school in Edison and Homedale. Homedale Bowl felt like what it was in those cups. Yeah, it was mud. Yeah, it felt like a swamp. Not swampy, but like that bowl. It was tough. That was tough. I just remember all the horror stories that people would tell about it. It's such a difficult. You come down all the way around, and then it gets flat for a second, and then you come all the way right back up. So it's giant, like kind of like horseshoe. But so as you were coming down, you're feeling great because you're running fast, but you could see on the right side, everyone that's dying going uphill. And then as you're going uphill yourself, you see everyone else that's dying, and you see everyone else that's like about to catch you because they're flying down the hill. And then you think you're at the top, and then you make a left, and then there's a whole bunch more hill. So it's just like all sorts of painful. Yeah, but that's a fun course. That's a fun course. All right. I'm going to leave it there for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow's video, I'm going to talk about the Endo-Lapetet. I ran on a 15-mile run on it right out of the box. We'll talk about that for tomorrow's video. And then tomorrow we'll do Trivia Tuesday. I'm not sure what we're going to do for Trivia Tuesday, but I think I'm going to do a giveaway tomorrow. So tune in for that. So we'll do that. And in the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. See you in the next one.